Hey, Cindy out here coming at you with another video, and in this video we are going to talk all about coconut oil. And wait, before you go, I know what you're thinking, like, oh, here she goes trying to tell us what to do. But before we get started though, can you do me a favor and go ahead and subscribe here to my channel, and then once you subscribe, go ahead and click on that bell notification so you're notified every single time I post a video, so you won't miss one. You know what goes on in the YouTube world. So now, when it comes to all of the different herbs that we are now learning about for hair growth, there is one main thing that we always forget: the why.
Trust that exactly where you are is where you're meant to be. So keep your chin up so your crown doesn't fall. Remember, you're royalty.
Find out that cloves works for hair growth, and that coconut oil works for hair growth, and all of these other things work for hair growth. But what we don't understand is how and why they work. Coconut oil is one of the most powerful substances that you can ingest into the body. Coconut oil is made from cold pressing the actual coconut meat, and from that coconut meat you can make butters, oils, or you can eat the meat as is or dried. This is the scientific name for the coconut's oil right here. This is the oil that holds most of coconut's properties. All right, this is the powerhouse right here, and its unrefined version is the best because it has the majority of all of the properties that coconut oil does have. So let's talk about some of those properties real quick. Coconut oils are fat, 100% fat, saturated fat. And that it is an extremely healthy fat, and it consists of MCTs. Now, MCTs are amazing because MCTs are converted within the body to produce ketones. Ketos, it's pronounced a bunch of different ways. I say ketones. You put your pronunciation in the description box. Ketones are the source of brain cells to increase your concentration and just your overall brain function. So MTCs are super important, and they have a bunch of different benefits as well. Make sure you check my blog post to learn a little bit more. Of course, when we are talking about cooking with coconut oil is actually better for your fruits and vegetables because you can hold on to more of the nutrients, because coconut oil has a higher smoke point than normal cooking oil, which is about 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is super good because you're able to cook your food for shorter periods of time, hold on to those nutrients, and then all of the nutrients that coconut oil has can be cooked and coated onto your food. Now, when we're talking about coconut oil going on the hair and where everything came from, hydra fatigue, and how coconut oil helps with hydra fatigue, this is where it gets tricky, because eating coconut oil regularly helps the body to fight off infections, protecting the body from natural bacteria or unnatural bacteria, so many other things. Over 50% of coconut oil is lactic acid, and the lactic acid content within coconut oil is what allows coconut oil, even though it's high on the comedogenic scale, the lactic acid that lives within coconut oil allows coconut oil to be able to penetrate the hair's cuticle, right? So the thing about it being able to penetrate the hair's cuticle, normally something like mineral oil and things of that nature are very, very high on the comedogenic scale because it doesn't have the type of complex or any acid or anything within it that will allow it that will allow it to penetrate the hair's cuticle, right? But when we're talking about coconut oil has, I was about to say lactic, coconut oil has a lauric acid, and lauric acid allows coconut oil to be able to penetrate within the hair shaft, right? So this is where this study comes from, and all of the videos across YouTube that are telling you like, oh, coconut oil helps cure hydra fatigue or prevent you from getting hydra fatigue, which is where the whole pre-pooing thing came from. This is the article. I'm leaving it in the description box below, but this is a little screenshot of the portion that most YouTubers took their whole co-washing with coconut oil from. So this study was performed, right? Lauric acid is so freaking amazing because it's so powerful at fighting off different microbes and different forms of bacteria. It is so powerful, lactic acid. And in the body, like ingesting coconuts on a regular basis will literally keep your digestive system on track. It will keep you from, and it'll keep your immune system balanced because it's getting rid of different bacteria, right? So because the lactic acid allows you to be able to penetrate the hair's cuticle, scientists ran tests and they wanted to see, you know, if whether or not coconut oil could help with hydrophatique. People think that these scientists were taking coconut oil and giving it to people and having people put it in their hair and use it on like in a normal way, but that's not how it happened. This test was ran on hair that was removed from a person, so it was no longer attached to a human being, and the hair was placed within a container of water after it was drenched in coconut oil. They drenched the hair in coconut oil, okay? They do not state the porosity or the density or the curl pattern, anything of the person that they were testing. They just tested hair, right? And they covered that hair with coconut oil and they submerged hair in coconut oil for over an hour. Nobody is sitting down in the water with that hair in the water for an hour, and if you do, you're not really supposed to. So within this study, they found that because the lactic acid was able to get the coconut oil within the hair shaft, coconut oil is still comedogenic. It's still very highly comedogenic, and it is protein seeking. So what it did and what they found in the study, hydrophatique is when the follicle, not the hair shaft, and this is where most people get confused. Hydrophatique is an infection or a disorder of the hair's follicle, and hydrophatique is when the follicle swells and unswells over and over again, right? So by the time the hair shaft has hydrophatique, the hair's follicle is already damaged. But they figured, okay, let's see what'll happen if we put this protein seeking, protein binding, because coconut oil is a 5 on the comedogenic scale, so the lactic acid lets it go in, but its properties make it so that it binds. Once it, wherever it goes, it stays there, and it has to be like forcefully removed, right? But they don't include that in the study, right? But the study tells you that once they added the coconut oil to the hair, once they took the hair out of the water for a couple of hours, they noticed that the hair didn't swell as it didn't swell. So it'll cure hydrophatique because it'll prevent your hair from swelling and unswelling. But the problem with that is, even though, yeah, it will keep your hair from getting hydrophatique, but it'll also give your hair other problems because the hair isn't supposed to swell and unswell too many times, right? It's not supposed to swell and unswell like an abnormal amount of times as if it would be swelling and unswelling if you're wetting your hair all day, every day. But the hair shaft is supposed to be able to swell and unswell at will. Is never supposed to be locked in a unswollen or locked in a swollen state for long periods of time. But when you have coconut oil within your hair, yes, the lactic acid let the coconut oil penetrate, but it made it so it could never get back out. And this is why most women who have who do the whole natural thing for a couple of years, that's the pattern, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. You'll do your whole team natural thing for like 2 or 3 years, and then at the end of those 2 or 3 years, you want to see all of your length. But then the first time you do your hair and you blow dry your hair and straighten it, whether you do it yourself or whether somebody else does it, you get heat damage. And most of us want to blame the cosmetologist. This video is not sponsored by hairstylists or anything, and I'm no longer behind the chair, but I want you to know that every time you went to get a flat iron after your whole Team Natural thing, if you've ever used coconut oil or any highly comedogenic oil, or if you were co-washing with coconut oil, my love, you're the reason that you got heat damage. Because yes, the lauric acid allows the coconut oil to penetrate the hair shaft, but coconut oil is still a 5 on the comedogenic scale. So once it penetrates, it's going to stay there because it is a saturated fat that is protein seeking, which means that coconut oil loves protein, and your hair is a fiber constructed of a protein called keratin, right? So that is why coconut oil works for hydrofatigue, or to prevent you from getting hydrofatigue, because it binds to the protein that is your hair. It binds to the cuticle, so the cuticle can't swell or unswell because it's locked, right? This is where that study came from. So yes, it will prevent your hair from swelling or unswelling, but the next question you need to ask is that healthy? Is it normal, or is it a good thing for my cuticle to be stuck in a swollen or unswollen position at all times? Because that's what happens when coconut oil is put within the hair shaft, right? And then a hairstylist doesn't know, right? You go into a hairstylist for the first time, or let's say you do your hair yourself. You don't know. All you know is that you were trying to prevent yourself from getting hydrofatigue, but then you go in with a blow dryer and you're like, oh my God, it broke my hair off. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. The blow dryer did not break your hair off, babe. The coconut oil was able to penetrate the hair shaft because of the lauric acid, but it's a 5, so it binds itself and connects itself to the inside of the hair shaft, into the cortex. So within all of the other things within your hair shaft, with your melanin and all of that, you also have coconut oil, because lauric acid is that powerful. It really can absorb. It can get in there, but it can't get out. And so that's the problem. Whenever you go to blow dry your hair, I would have that happen all the time, like around the Team Natural time, and I think sometimes I get flashbacks, and maybe that's why I'm like, ugh, because it would be so stressful. You know, I would have clients, and this happened multiple times, where I would have one client whose hair I would wash her hair like 3 times. A hairstylist or a cosmetologist that has went through this, make sure you drop it in the comments, or let me know in the comments. But you would comb through the hair so many freaking times, or wash the hair so many times, and no matter how many times you wash it, when you go to straighten it is a oily mess. My love, I need you to close your eyes and picture your hair on a microscopic level, right? The coconut oil was able to penetrate because of the lauric acid, but it's a 5, so it's never leaving. And when your hair is cold, when, like, you know, coconut oil, it goes from hot to cold, it changes its consistency. So when you walk outside and it's a little colder outside, or if it's just room temperature, then the coconut oil is literally solidifying within the hair's cuticle and on top of the hair's cuticle. But then when it's hot or whatever, or when the temperature changes, then it begins to melt. So that's what happens, you guys, and that's what you guys don't understand. Within the hair shaft, the coconut oil itself is solidifying and binding to the protein that is your hair. That's what's stopping it from swelling and unswelling, because it's bound by a thick fat. You literally have saturated fat within the hair shaft. So then when a flat iron is put on top of that saturated fat, all of that saturated fat that has now solidified, because we're using the same coconut oil that you can get from Walmart, and you guys know if you put that in the freezer, it'll get hard as a rock, right? So it's solidified within the hair's cuticle, and then the second you put a 400-degree flat iron, or even if it's not 400 degrees, if it's 300 degrees, and it is, even if it's at 200 degrees, you put a 200-degree flat iron on top of hair that has coconut oil fat within it, it is literally the same thing as frying chicken. So that is why most naturals get heat damage directly, like their very first time getting a flat iron. It's not because flat irons give heat damage, it's because the follicles and the cuticles have been full of coconut oil, my loves. So now that you understand, if you have a select wash day and you have a certain pattern that you follow every 7 days, then you won't ever have to worry about hydro fatigue, your hair getting too bound down with too many products, because the only reason we're using too many products is because we're trying to use the products to set our hair in certain styles. But if you follow shameless plug, my 7-day challenge, a link in the description box below, if you follow my 7-day challenge, you'll have some of the same results that some of these women here on the screen have had, and you will be able to completely take control of your hair growth cycle from wash day to wash day. So you're not stopping in the middle of the week putting water in your hair, stopping in the middle of the week adding more products and stuff like that. There's 1 day a week that you should have to add products to your hair and oils, because if the scalp is on its regular regimen, then there'll be oil automatically coming out of the scalp on the hair shaft, and you won't be pressed about adding oils all the time. So if you haven't done so already, join my 7-day challenge. It will help you understand what type of cycle you should have to master your hair growth cycle, okay? And if you are somebody who is having this problem where you have all of this build up and stuff, and no matter what you do, you just feel like you are not going to be able to get the coconut oil out. And I'm not trying to shame you, boo. Like, if you were using coconut oil for a while, that is fine. It is okay. But you have to get it out. It's not going to remove itself because, again, the lauric acid, let it in, but it is a 5 on the comedogenic scale, and it is a saturated fat that loves to bind to protein. So you have to kick it out. And one of my favorite products to do this with is Olaplex 4C. If you are somebody who feels like, and not just with coconut oil, with any product, if you were at one point in time a product junkie and you feel like now is the time to finally remove it for good, then I really recommend Olaplex 4C. But let me tell you something, boo, look, they having a sale. You buy 2 products and you get 1 free. So this is what you should do, especially if you're a person who's trying to get rid of the coconut oil or any other Team Natural hacks that you was following before that could have blocked the follicle. I'm talking fast because my battery about to die and I'm not about to switch this camera. And getting you some Olaplex 4C. And Olaplex 4C is so freaking amazing because it is going to help you completely detoxify the scalp. You can add you some Olaplex C, which is the clarifier, and then follow up with their moisturizing conditioner, which is Olaplex A, if I'm not mistaken, and then follow up with their leave-in conditioner that is amazing, amazing heat protecting to prep you for a blowout or a flexi rod set or just anything. I'll talk about that too. So you can add those 3 products to your cart. Remember, they have to be full size, and then add the code right here, because I was about to try to say it, but then I'm probably going Ola VIP. Oh, I got it right. So add the code Ola VIP once you add 3 products to your cart, right? And then add this code, and then you will get one of those 3 products for free on me, okay? So use the link in the description box below and get you some Olaplex 4C. Olaplex 4C will I don't know why I'm saying will like that. Olaplex 4C will help you 100% detox every drip drop of coconut oil that is either within the follicle or within the hair shaft. All right, so check it out. Remember, those are 2 things you can do. You can join my 7-day hair growth challenge so I can teach you get from wash day to wash day without putting water or any additional product in your hair, and you can join a community of women who are on the same exact journey as you, women who are sharing their experiences with you, because there are women who've been doing my 7-day challenge for years, like this woman here, and look at the results she has. So if you're tired of playing this game, then join my 7-day challenge. And if you need to unblock your follicles or your hair shaft, make sure you take advantage of the sale that Olaplex is having. I love you guys so much, and until my next video, bye bye. I love you. See, I wasn't trying to be mean. I'm just saying, eat the coconut oil. It's so many different ways you can use it, but stop putting it in your hair. Stop putting it in your hair. Okay? Okay.
Trust that exactly where you are is where you're meant to